We are live. Welcome to the end of day three of the third test match. What an end to a test match. What a last over. What a dramatic and frustrating last over. I know you enjoyed that quite a bit.
Oh, love that so much, especially with Stump Mike.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of anger and frustration and passion coming out. A lot of unnecessary drama created by Crawley.
Yeah, for someone who averages 31
yeah.
after 56 test matches,
Yeah.
oh, that was so uncalled for.
Yeah,
But,
that's true.
I mean, he did what he had to do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, who is to say that the Indian batters wouldn't do the same? All right. Welcome, chat. Hey, Radhakrishnan. Hey, Abhishek. Hey, Zappy. Hey, Srikanth. Hi, Anirudh. Hi, Unknown. Yes, we weren't necessarily late, but that's fine.
Whoa, we're on time today, lads.
Oh.
This
Hi,
accusations?
Roy Chowdhury. Hi, Ravi Singh. Uh,
Damn.
Oh,
But
yeah.
quite a few people in. Already seen a lot of banter and some hilarious comments.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, DK was taken. Damn. Should have been 2 overs. Stump Mike went wild today. Exactly that. Yeah. That was
Yeah.
quite a dramatic end to what seemed like a very even test match. I mean, it's even on the scorecard. Scores are leveled. Now, of course, England lead by 2 runs, but for the most part, scores were leveled. But yeah, Praveen, Sahil, Shah, if you're joining in for the first time, hit that like button, like our stream, will push the live to a lot more people. And we have a lot of segments. We'll talk about the positives, negatives. We will talk about, there's an interesting technical tidbit today. We have a lot of stats. We also have the new ball conundrum that we'll talk about again.
Yeah.
And then we will address the chat. But yeah, like the stream. 51 people already in, and we only have 11 likes. How many do we want, Praatibh?
50. Come on, let's push it. Let's push it for the lads. Let's push it for the Indian team that Kohli is going to be so proud of just looking at that.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, Vidwan Insan. Hi, Alora. Hi, Praveen. I already said that. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the scorecard.
All right, a riveting day's play with India eventually getting 387, which at the point we were from where we started today morning at 145 for 3. I don't know if there's going to be mixed feelings or if India are going to be happy, but India going into lunch at 248 for 4, unfortunately losing the wicket of Rishabh Pant to that run out. But after that, T 316 for 5 and eventually 387 all out, courtesy a brilliant century from KL Rahul, 100 of 177. Fell shortly after, but useful contributions later on from both Jaddu as well as Pant getting 50s and also the tail batting really well.
All right, that's the scorecard for you. Let's go to the merit and breath. That's positives for the day.
Cool. So it has been a good day's play. There are, now that I think about it, I can only think of the things that went wrong with India, but a lot of things did go right with the bat. Firstly, KL Rahul, something we spoke about yesterday in the post was how it will be very important for him to come in, stick it out, and manage to get to that century. He's done it yet again. There's a lot of records that he's broken in this century that he's gotten at Lords. He's second at the home of cricket. Once again, it was a beautiful innings to watch. I don't think there's ever going to be a KL Rahul innings that isn't eye catching or just aesthetically beautiful, pleasing to watch. Aswin, great music. Cool. That's on KL Rahul. From there, Rishabh Pant also batted brilliantly, especially with all of the short stuff they peppered him with him getting repeatedly hit on his gloves. In fact, on the same finger on which he had the injury. But despite all of that, I think brilliant grit and resilience from Rishabh Pant to be able to come out, play that kind of knock. Very unfortunate end, something we will talk about. But I think these two, for them holding out that entire session, if not for that run out, I think India would have dominated this day completely. But as it stands, that's where it's at. A couple of other positives I want to talk about is obviously the three all rounders that we're playing. Ravindra Jadeja getting his third consecutive 50. Once again, Umang, thanks for the super chat. First super chat, I finally. Damn nice. Let's keep it 13 plus here.
Yeah, but thank you so much for the super
Thanks
chat.
for the super
Appreciate that
chat.
a lot.
Also, love the pop culture references. But yeah, coming back to Jaddu, uh, third consecutive 50 for him. And in fact, till the point till which he got out, he also looked in really good touch. He has looked solid as a batter in this particular series, and that's something that India really required from him, especially after that first test match and the whole tail issue. So him coming in and playing that lock was really good. Playing out that second new ball, extremely good. NKR also deserves a mention here, and so does Washi. But I think Nitish Kumar Reddy coming into this particular innings, two failures in the previous test, and before that, two before the MCG ton that he got. Correct me if I'm wrong, if it's MCG or not. But after that knock, he's been struggling to get runs. Even in the IPL, he had a bit of a low patch. But from there to be able to come out and play the kind of innings he did today, eventually got just 30 of 91 odd is what I want to say. But for him playing out that Archer spell, the second new ball,
No, no,
you
go.
want to
No, no,
add
I was just
something?
saying, I think you should touch upon this. So Arun asks, guys, NKR is not a good batsman. He really struggled with his unsure footwork, was really
Whoa.
tentative. I mean, cut him some slack. I mean,
Mm.
Archer was bowling to him, but what do
Yeah,
you want to say
that's
now that you're talking about
yeah. I
NKR
think
to begin with?
yeah. I'll just add on to that NKR point. So that's the thing, right? When you think about the fact that he hasn't shown footwork, it's just that Archer was bloody quick today. He was bowling consistently. I think he bowled something like 11 or 12 or 13 deliveries, 90 plus. Quickest spell ever in his test career, which is very small, but yeah. But yeah, so that kind of gives you a little bit of context around how NKR might have not shown a lot of footwork, but I think he was a lot better in his off stump awareness. Something we'd spoken about. Ashwin's all over the place, but something we'd spoken about is how Nitish Kumar Reddy looked very tentative in the first test that he played, the second test match, where he was not even sure where his off stump was. And so from there, in just this innings for him to come this far, Vamsi, thanks for the super chat. What's the method to Rishabh Pant's madness? We will get to all of this
Yeah,
when
that's
we,
that's a good question, and thank you so
yeah,
much for the super chat. Appreciate
yeah.
that a lot.
Damn, lads. It looks like you don't want me to complete this segment. I can keep going. But yeah, basically, it's that NKR new ball for him to play out that spell under immense pressure, okay? Because Archer was on it right from the get go. NKR got beaten a lot. He was also coaxed into playing a lot of drives, which he very successfully left. So I think full marks to him. Eventually, would have wanted him to get more, but it's fine. And Sundar too, he did what he could. Unfortunately, Jaddu was lost at the other end, got dismissed. But apart from that, I think even Sundar did a good job. So this is on the positives, more on the negatives from Ashwin.
All right, let's go from the positives to the negatives. Something to keep in mind, right? So I love talking about the negatives, but something to keep in mind is that when a batter is batting, and a lot of you guys have talked about how NKR didn't look comfortable or Washington Sundar didn't look comfortable. It's how they go about the innings. It's okay to not look comfortable, but it's a different thing if you're throwing a wicket away after that versus if you're trying to stick around. And if NKR and Sundar at some points didn't look good while staying in, I think that's absolutely fine as long as you're not throwing a wicket away. I forgot how NKR got out.
He got a very good
Oh yeah,
delivery
Ben
from
Stokes.
Stokes.
Right, right. Yeah. So Nitish Kumar Reddy getting out to that ball was absolutely fine, and Washington Sundar trying to slash at it. They did their jobs as the all-rounder in the team. Of course, you would want Nitish Kumar Reddy to score a lot more runs batting at number 7. But I thought until then, even though they looked tentative, they did their job, and I'm not going to criticize them for that. What are the negatives for today is something Praatibh already talked about, is that run out before lunch. I thought that was absolutely bizarre. It was under 16 cricket stuff. Why you're so not patient to get your 100. I mean, someone mentioned this, I think, in our chat or on Twitter, if I'm not wrong. But Joe Root overnight stayed 99, and KL Rahul couldn't stay. Oh, Sudarshan. If you guys don't know who Sudarshan is, he helps us a lot. You guys can go check him out on
Hopefully,
Twitter.
he'll be in the chat soon.
Oh yeah, hopefully he'll be in the chat soon. All right, so if Joe Root can stay 99 not out overnight, staying 98 not out for 40 minutes is not the biggest deal. I don't care whose call it was, it shouldn't have been a run at all. With Rishabh Pant batting there, especially with almost a broken finger or what might seem like an injured finger, you don't want Rishabh Pant to get run out. At that point, India was such a dominating stage. Until lunch, we hadn't lost a wicket. Right, so we didn't trail by any runs. The scores were level, but knowing India's history, there's a big chance that we could have easily been bundled out after lunch, especially when KL Rahul also got out, which is another criticism that I have. The man scores 100, great. Like, I absolutely adorable. I mean, adorable is what I chose to say. Impressive. And yeah, I think Pratham talked about KL Rahul quite a bit. Scored 100, he gets his second Lord's 100. You can't possibly get out after that, especially after the run out that was caused that involved you. Of course, I'm not saying it's KL Rahul's fault. I just think it's equally his fault. And you can't just score 100 and get out to a loose shot, especially when you're the senior man, when you're the opener. Yes, you have scored those 100 runs. Yes, he's done his job predominantly, but I would want him to continue and bat for a longer time. And then there was all that running between the wickets between Jadeja and Nitish Kumar Reddy that I did not understand. It was like a circus out there where I think they could have gotten out twice at one point. Where yeah, Jadeja just took off, and then Nitish Kumar Reddy just took off. Everyone just kept taking off, and there were a couple of chances even after that when Jadeja would just tap and run and not see the fielder. I just thought it was quite erratic and very irresponsible, especially from someone like a Jadeja who's very very experienced. Fact, and then something I do want to touch upon, and this I'll just slow down a little bit, and I want to take my time, is how Washington Sundar's inexperience batting with the tail was clearly shown. He had no game plan whatsoever. He wanted to farm strike but not score runs or hit boundaries or take singles of the last ball because it clearly didn't seem like he was trying to do anything. And when the tail enders were getting strike, for example, Akashdeep, he hit a six. And then Washington Sundar takes a single, doesn't give a single to Akashdeep, and then farm strike. In the last ball of the over, he again doesn't look to do anything. He's just blocking, defending, not looking to score runs. So then what's the game plan? Because if you're not looking to score runs, nor are you letting your tail ender swing, then what's the point? I thought Akashdeep was allowed to swing because you still had 2 wickets after him. He couldn't swing and then he got out and then Siraj comes on. Oh yeah, it was Bumrah who came on. Bumrah also should have just swung. He's been successful at Lords before, scoring 30 odd runs if I'm not wrong the last time around, and it was because he was allowed to bat the way he did and not just defend unnecessarily. If Sundar was there, Bumrah should have just swung the bat. He should have been given orders to do that. Because again, I did not understand Sundar's game plan because he would either defend, leave the ball, block it, or in the last couple of balls off the over, not look to do anything about it. And so, what's the point? You're not getting runs. You're just wasting time. At that point, it's not even about time. At that point, you need to be scoring some runs because there will be a point when the tail enders are shown to the bowlers and they will get out, and that's exactly what happened. Even when Siraj came on, that's exactly what happened. What I did think was, I thought Jofra Archer's wicket to Sundar was very clever. The first ball, Sundar steps out, swings, misses, and then Jofra Archer says that he wants a fielder behind the wicketkeeper. Next thing you know, the next ball he gives a catch to him. Exactly that. Harry Brook didn't even have to move. I thought that was something clever, and I thought that was pretty poor from Washington Sundar, if anything. All right, let's go to Oh What a Great.
All right. So before I actually get into the moments of the day, there's one thing, there's one comment that I can see from Shrikant that basically talks about how we should cut some slack for someone like KLR because he batted extremely well. Lost focus at that point after playing 198 balls. However, the thing is, it's not easy to get in on this pitch. You've seen a lot of batters just not be able to get in, and for batters who've gotten in, there is one delivery that will have your name on. So, considering all of that, considering that KL was coming right after the lunch break, he would have been fresh. If you were going to tell me that he'd already been batting out there for 2 hours, it was the last over of the session, and there was a lapse of concentration. Okay, that is even that at the highest level is not something that's excusable, but you can kind of get where that's coming from. So, considering all of the situations at hand and all of the scenarios, I think that was loose from KL. It could have also had a lot to do with how the run out panned
Yeah,
out
that's
and
true.
something on his head.
The problem was it was
But
right after lunch. It was not right
exactly,
before lunch.
exactly. But yeah, so moments of the day is actually one of them is the Pant run out, and the second is KL Rahul getting out. Because if either of these batters had pulled through and batted for a longer period of time, India would have been sitting pretty at 6 down or 7 down right now. Because considering the way we've been batting in the last couple of tests, I think we just needed someone to hold one end up and just continue to bat in the manner that they were. Pant, if he'd managed to remain not out and bat till the end of today, he would have been on 150, possibly even 170. Now, this is obviously very far fetched and it's hypothetical and all, but these have to be the two key moments because if even one of these batters had managed to play out to the next session, to play out at least until the tea break, India would have been in a commanding position right now in this test match.
All right, that's the moment of the day. Let's go to the credit for the bit, and that's the player of the day, and it has to go to Jadeja. Man scored 72 runs of 131 balls, actually, sorry. I mean, KL Rahul's not the player of the day because he didn't score 100 runs today, whereas Jadeja did score the 72 runs today. Taking nothing away from KL Rahul. But Jadeja's third consecutive 50 in a test match. He's been batting very impressive in the series. He's doing what he needs to do. What we are very, very happy about is the fact that he's batting number 6. It's something that was missing in the Border Gavaskar Trophy where he was batting lower down the order, not getting time with batters. In fact, he was batting more with the tail, and that's what happened with him in the first test match in the first innings. And after that, he's been batting number 6. You see the numbers, he's batting well. It's something we've talked about. It's a video we made about. And so, yeah, he batted extremely well today, left the balls. The running bit was a bit erratic, but yeah, he left the balls whenever needed. He attacked whenever he could. He even attacked Joe Root and Bashir and almost broke Bashir's finger and took him out of the game. So that's something else that Jadeja did. So, yeah, player of the day, Ravindra Jadeja. Let's go to quick wit in Brit. Those are stats to talk about.
All right, we actually have a bunch of stats, and there's a select few good ones here because I feel like there was room for so many more, but we just had to kind of narrow it down.
Right.
First one is obviously a KL Rahul stat, something that a lot of people have been trolling him for and will finally be happy about. This is the first time in 8 years where KL Rahul has got more than two scores of 50 plus in a test series, which is great, which points to possibly an era of KL Rahul where he's going to be a lot more consistent. He's in his peak batting years.
True.
Something to watch out for. The second fact here is that this is the first test series in history in which more than 800 runs have been scored by just the wicket keepers of the two sides. Jamie Smith and Rishabh Pant, both of them sitting on around close to 400 runs. Rishabh Pant's on 416, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's the last stat. And we are just halfway through the
Yeah,
series,
that's true.
which really says
Exactly
something.
halfway, one and
Yeah,
a half days into the third test
exactly,
match.
exactly. Which really says something about the quality of
3
wicketkeeper
days into the
batters.
third
Yeah.
test match.
Yeah, it says something about the quality of the wicketkeepers batters on both sides of the test match.
Right, and then KL Rahul becomes exactly the 100th instance of a batter to be dismissed for exactly 100 times in Test cricket on exactly 100. So that's the stat. So he's the 100th batter to get out exactly 100 times on the score of 100. KL has the most test hundreds in England since 2018 for an opener, which is great. It's something he loves doing, scoring a lot of runs in England. His second test century at Lord's should tell you something. And with 416 runs, Pant now has most runs for a visiting wicketkeeper versus England. So everyone's scoring a lot of runs. Everyone's contributing with the bat, which is great to see. Let's go to the technical tidbit. This is a very interesting tidbit.
Yeah, this one's a little different. You can see the picture here of Washington Sundar, and it's batting with the tail, right? Now on comms, you'll hear a lot of the commentators talking about how the the batter, in this case Washington Sundar, is batting a certain way with the tail. He should be farming the strike and all of that, right? So let's get into what essentially the role of an all-rounder here or a proper bat becomes in the case when they're batting with tail-enders. Usually this would happen around the point where the team is about 7-8 wickets down with one recognized batsman at the crease and the rest are your tail-enders. Now what's important here is for the batter whose supreme skill is batting to be able to farm as much strike as possible. And the obvious reason why this is important is because more they're less likely to get out while facing a bowler as compared to the tail ender. And now the criticism or something that we also spoke about with Washi is that he wasn't farming the strike, which he should possibly gain with experience. And that's basically it, right? When you're batting with the tail enders, it's important how you maneuver the field in a manner such that if you're playing out the first 3 or 4 deliveries of a particular bowler in the over, from there on the fifth ball, you're able, or fourth or fifth ball, you're able to rotate the strike, get off strike. Basically, you want to protect your tail ender. At the same time, you want to be able to go for your shots, maximize scoring because you know that the tail ender isn't going to stick around for much. And that's basically what it is. It's something that Washi wasn't really doing.
All right, let's go to the next segment, and that's the new ball conundrum. I'll take a comment that the medieval Chad said of how the difference between the WTC final and the test match here, both happening in Lords, is the fact that Australia and South Africa had better bowlers as compared to the teams here, and which is why there's such a big difference in terms of runs and everything. I think two things, of course. Yeah, in totality, if you look at the bowlers between South Africa and Australia, they are better. But it's not just that; the pitches are completely different. Sure, uh, there are few properties of those two pitches that are quite similar in terms of balls are not carrying to the slips. It's a bit bouncy. Certain places are bouncy, and it's not as fast as it usually would be. It is a slow pitch, but saying that, this pitch is spinning a lot more, whereas that pitch had a lot more grass, had a lot more for the fast bowlers. It was seaming and swinging quite a bit. And so the pitches are very, very different. If anything, it was more fast bowling friendly in the WTC final, not just because they had the fast bowlers, because the pitch was made to be such. Now, right, let's talk about the new ball conundrum. A reminder to all of you guys, the first innings of India when India started with the ball, well, Akash Deep and Jasprit Bumrah started off with the new ball. Now, what happened then was when Suraj came as first change, Siraj struggled to find rhythm. Now, in the second new ball, that is after the 80th over, we saw on the same day, we saw Akash Deep and Jasprit Bumrah continuing with the new ball, except it only lasted 3 overs, the end of day's play, and then day two began. If I'm right, it was the start of day two, and we saw Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah start off with the new ball. Now, what happened here was when we saw Akash Deep come as first change, not only did he not get anything off the new ball, but he also struggled the entire day to find any rhythm. We say this because when you saw, if you saw the second test match, because of the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, every time a new ball was introduced, it was taken by Siraj and Akash Deep, and both of them being the strengths and both of them using their strengths with the new ball, they were able to take wickets. Now, of course, we talked about this yesterday. Bumrah can't not take the new ball because we saw in 30 minutes he took 3 wickets, which is why you would want your best bowler to take the new ball. So the new ball conundrum is who starts off tomorrow because Bumrah's done with his first over. Akashdeep was warming up with Jasprit Bumrah. We didn't see Siraj warming up, so you would only assume that it's going to be Akashdeep. But then the conversation needs to be right. So if we do start off with Akashdeep, how are we going to use Siraj with the new ball? The new ball bowler that we know, how are we going to use him? Because it's a conversation they will need to have. Of course, Bumrah and Akashdeep will start off well. You're hoping for them to do that, but you also need to have a conversation of how to use Siraj's strength. This is a conversation we will continue tomorrow too. Because if you join us at 2:45, we will have a preview of day 4. All right, let's address the chat.
Before that, like the stream, lads. How many likes are we on? 44.
44.
Can we get that number up to 60, which will be nice? Okay, let's.
All right, Abhiraj and Kuldeep, to be honest, they're still talking about, which is fun. Kuldeep, to be honest, his Sena Fifa have been in pitches which heavily normally assisted spin. So credibility isn't there. That's not true. I mean, he's only played 2 Sena matches. He's played one in Australia and one in England. If you're and in those 2 matches he picked up 5 wickets. So if your credibility just falls over after 2 matches, that's a bit unfair. That way Shubman Gill wouldn't have had a test career. Jadeja always tends to tap the ball and move forward 3-4 steps, which triggers the non-striker to run, and then Jadeja would deny the run. Thoughts?
Yeah, it is something Jaddu has done. We have seen him struggle with a couple of other batters also when it comes to
Jaiswal.
running between the wickets. Jaiswal's a whole other story. He has his own issues with running, but yeah, it's just a little like Jaddu NKR is some of the worst running I've seen in a while. Like it was Ollie Pope's horrible fielding that led to none of them getting out, run out. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I think Jaddu needs to be a lot more circumspect when he comes out of the crease.
Yeah. We talk about Kuldeep so much, kind of shows how insane he is for not getting a spot. Yeah, that's true.
It is.
Sundar is doing the dumbest thing when he has tail at the other end. In 2021, when England was getting out at 96 with tail, even in BGT, when he's with tail to save test, he gives strike to them. Yeah, I mean, we've seen this time and again of how he struggles to bat with the tail, and I don't understand why. I think he needs to be talked to. There needs to be a conversation. Like, in my head, it's common sense.
Yeah,
And at
it's
that level, you would
yeah.
just assume you would know.
I wonder if it's got to do with seniority,
Or
where
confidence, maybe.
yeah, could be where he feels like because he's not senior compared to those tailenders, he feels that he should just give them the strike. It's happened with a few people. So yeah.
Boss, can you talk about how Crickbus has made a video on how Pant had prepared to bat in this match with painkillers? Many are not aware. To be fair, I understand by Crickbus. I know the video you're talking about. I also know what it is you're talking about. The reason they covered Rishabh Pant is because he got that injury on the field. But honestly, a lot of bowlers, a lot of batters, a lot of wicket keepers do take a lot of painkillers. Like, I think Mitchell Stark is, I think, currently playing his 100 test match, if I'm not.
Yes, he is.
And Pat Cummins was talking about how he has a lot of injuries. He needs to strap himself a lot. He needs to take a lot of things. He just doesn't talk about it. And I think that what that Crickbuzz video does is exposes how much a player needs to prepare, not just mentally or physically, but also in terms of managing pain to play a whole goddamn cricket match. Pun didn't make 100, so I say India have got a chance to win the match. To be honest, even though he's injured, he batted out really well, got out a punt fashion unexpectedly out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true. I think all of those points hold.
Won't the pitch become more difficult to bat on the last day? So India will have to work so hard to control the England tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. If England get away with the game tomorrow, which is. But the thing is, I don't know how easily England can score runs on this pitch. It has been difficult to score at a high rate.
True.
So if England go at 4 runs per over tomorrow, then they're very likely going to declare by around tea.
Yeah,
Yeah, put India in.
yeah, that's true. Kushal, I have no idea who that. Bro, oh, Bro Gabbas stream.
Rogue Baba?
Gambhir has an agenda towards Kuldeep. He's been reluctant to play him on flat pitches that will get worse over time. Edgbaston, example Edgbaston. And here, plus he didn't play him versus New Zealand and they lost. Yeah, they played him against New Zealand at one
One.
match.
And then I think he got injured after that.
Yeah, he
Was
did get injured after that,
the
and then that's why he
necks.
couldn't travel to the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The thing is, we don't know if he would have traveled to begin with because Sundar got
Oh,
those
yeah.
5,000 wickets in that match. I think Washi just wanted to get over the day. If he survived for 2, 3 more overs, he might have gone to stumps. Yeah,
But I don't think
didn't
that's the
do anything.
best way to roll when you're batting with the tail, right? Because the tail are just walking wickets.
They should learn something from Aiden Markram in the WTC final. Clear, precise calling. No wait. Instead, Indian batting team following in Kohli's footsteps of comedic run. You definitely don't watch Test cricket. Punts, runs, runouts as equal as Kohli since he was Test cricket. Neeraj and Sechel, you guys are having a conversation. How much is Siraj effective on this pitch considering the conditions as of now? He's more of a Umesh Yadav case, like sometimes promising and sometimes.
New ball conundrum. It's something we just spoke about. It's Siraj with the new ball versus Siraj with any other ball. The effectiveness drops rapidly. It has a lot to do with the style of bowling, where he's more of a swing bowler, loves a pronounced seam, and that's what you get when you have a new ball. Whereas that fades away with time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, boys, I think we missed a trick by not sending Sundar above NKR as the Washi Jaddu partnership would have been effective when NKR can take part with the tail. I think they just prefer Nitish Kumar Reddy up the order, and I think I prefer that too. I just like him as a batter more than Washington Sundar, also because it's a left-right combination. Because
Yeah.
you wouldn't have Pant, Jadeja, lefty, and then another lefty walk in. You would have NKR and then Sundar.
However, I would say that NKR is a much better bat with the tail. So that's something for
Yeah,
them to
that's
think
true.
about.
Hope Siraj will be lucky in the second innings. He was so good during 60 overs of hell.
That's true. He has a history here.
Yeah. Bowling tailenders scoring a minimum of 20 run each should be a standard. Should be made a standard. Karan's ones are so lethargic in contributing a few extra runs. Yeah, that's because our batters cannot. Sorry, our bowlers cannot. Fast
Hold a
bowlers in
bat.
specific.
Yeah.
Fast bowlers in specific cannot hold a goddamn bat.
For all you know, that's probably why Kuldeep just keeps missing out, because none of our fast bowlers can bat.
Do you think it's a big minus having two new balls effect or having two only new ball effective bowlers? Oh, interesting, right? Having Siraj and
Oh,
Akash because they predominantly get the wickets.
right. I That's an interesting one. I feel like Akashdeep also has the potential
Yeah,
to be
that's the thing.
good with
Yeah.
the older ball, or at least, I mean, first change basically. I don't know, man. It's something we'll know over time, because something we were looking at and something that we'll probably touch upon later in the series is a comparison of these three to Cummins, Stark,
Yeah.
Hazelwood in the sense of how they're used.
Yeah.
So,
Would be interesting to see the tempo of England and also the commentary of English commentators on declaration of make enough runs. Yeah, true. The tempo will say something about the pitch tomorrow.
I think if England get 300 somehow, they'll probably declare.
Damn, 140 people on the live Saturday night.
Let's go. Let's have some likes rolling in. Lovely. Not bad.
You want 100 likes?
Yeah, of course. I'm
Let's get
greedy
it to
for more.
100 like if you can. Pratibh will make Pratibh's day. Isn't it better to use Siraj first change as the Duke ball has a tendency to get considerable swing when it is 15 to 17 overs, old as Vokes was getting today? I think it's a couple of things. I think Siraj starting off doesn't always start off great. And I think when you give him the red ball, like the new cherry, he's just at it. And the thing is, if you're giving them 6, 7 over spell, by the time it's 15 overs, and you will want to use the pitch, the ball. And I'm assuming by the end of the 15 overs, the lacquer's coming off. And by the end of the 15th over, Siraj is in great rhythm. He would want to use, I mean, he's already getting the swing and seam. It, like, logically, what you're saying makes sense, but I think Siraj would just disagree. Regarding the new ball issue, India can afford Siraj Akashdeep being ineffective in an innings, but if Bumrah gets ineffective, it will cost us. So, yeah, would you agree with that? Do you feel like are you saying oh so one of them can be ineffective versus Bumrah cannot be ineffective?
Yeah, I think there is an additional pressure on Bumrah because of his record, which makes sense. Uh, but at the same time, I don't think that. Obviously, when Bumrah plays, India are reliant on him. India look to him to get the wickets. But it's not the case that if Bumrah isn't performing, then the Indian team is just going to fold over. Having said that, the chances of that would increase.
Yes, that's true. Why did Bumrah not target his stumps and force Crawley to play at it? I know it's 1 over, but still, I think he forced. I thought he tried to bowl at the stump, where he clipped it for 2 runs.
Plus, it's a little bit of a setup game also, right? Even within those 6 balls, you're trying to play one mind game of 4 balls at least.
Root has got some bit of turn, so what if Gill gives first over to bowlers like Jadeja to complete the over within 2 minutes, so we can have nothing over to bowl a pacer like Bumrah to
So,
surprise another over. Or that's what they
interesting.
should have done today. You're saying? I don't think
But
so.
I feel like even with Jaddu, they would have wasted
Yeah,
time in the
but
same
yeah, you
manner.
still want Bumrah to
So,
just run into ball. He's done this before. He's done this in Australia, the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy, and Australians did this. Sam Constance and Usman Khawaja wasting
wasting
time.
time.
Except with that, it was a fairy tale end to the day where Jasprit Bumrah got Usman Khawaja out. Ravi Singh, India tail is absolutely plummeting big time. Hey, Anubhav Kamboj.
Damn, are you related to Anshul
I
Kamboj?
knew. So good. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that a lot, dude. If you're sending in the super chat, you can also ask a question. We'll take that. Right. Indian tail is absolutely plummeting big time. Game plan becomes simple for England after 7 wickets fall. They just have to spread the field out to Jadeja, Sundar, and restrict single in the last ball. I think that's with every other team.
Yeah, no, not with Australia. The last couple of wickets can at least hold the
No,
bat.
but like game plan is still the same. Spread the field to the
Oh,
batter
yeah,
and give.
game plan. For Sundar, it's not.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
true.
have to do anything.
Bro, Australia is not playing Nathan and all four fast bowlers head as the main spinner. Damn, Umang Jain. I think that's also because of how the pitches have been playing. I think
Yeah.
they don't need four. They don't need a spinner.
They've been good pace-friendly pitches. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a clear covering of grass on those pitches.
true. Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Scott Boland, and Josh Hale.
That's a lineup.
What else people expect from the tail? Or something else. Only our bowlers don't dismiss tail. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that's actually been an issue for India for a while. They've struggled to get the tail out.
Boys, with the current lineup with bowlers, is it a nail to coffin for Shami's red ball career? I think Shami will walk in the second he's fit. I think it's his fitness that might just be the nail to the coffin to his red ball career. Because if he
Also,
hasn't made it back yet, then that's a
and
problem.
age isn't helping him either.
Tomorrow will be spicy, spicy indeed. Gill taunting Crawley to have. Right, true.
In his squeaky voice.
You were talking about common sense, but Dhoni once said common sense is not that common. Yeah, that is all.
True.
I think Pant missed the trick in the series. Still now, no bowler has gotten him out. Technically, he has thrown it away. I mean,
That's how he always gets out, right?
that's how you could that's something you could say that about every batsman. To be fair, I mean, Kohli got out the way he did in Australia,
Yeah.
throwing his wicket away, but the bowler needs to bowl that ball. So it's a two glass half full, glass half empty kind of thing. That's for batsmen with that Aussie bowling lineup. Ah, dude,
Yeah. Especially on the pitch there.
what will be the good? Oh yeah, right. So what will be a decent target to India for India to chase tomorrow? Not tomorrow, whenever.
I think anything over 220, 250 is going to be tough to chase on this pitch. Firstly, with the time factor, and secondly, with just the pitch. I think it is going to deteriorate.
Try to make a video about Joru's decline just like Kohli's video. Honestly, he was so mesmerizing then. I don't think Joru's declining. If anything, he's only climbing up. It's this series where he's caught off guard. He scored 100, and that's fine.
I mean, that just puts it into context because of him not getting a century for some time. He still got a century, and people think he's on his decline.
Yes, yes. Why was Ishant unceremoniously dropped after the 2021 WTC final? He easily had 2 3 years. We made an entire Ishant Sharma video. You should check it out. Can you guys throw some light on the side spin? Oh, right, you do this. Talk about what side spin and overspin is. Difference between Bashir and Root. Root was getting more turn as compared to Bashir, and why is that?
All right. So there's a couple of things, right? Rightly pointed out in the chat, side spin and
This is eight some.
rightly pointed out in the chat. My mouth's gone all dry. My bottle is there's no water. It's tiny, but yeah. Point being, there's two ways or two kinds of spin that you get on a ball as a spinner. One is top spin, where the seam is like this. You can see the seam.
As a batter?
As a batter, I mean, see the seam like this. and the other is side spin where the ball is coming at some sort of angle and the seam is this way. Uh,
Don't you guys watch? Damn, Kushal, you sent a super chat to ask if we watch another sport. We don't watch football, no, we don't. But thank you so much for the super chat.
we do watch other sports, just not
Yeah.
football as much.
Go on, talk about side spin and top spin.
What? Tuning in from Virginia. Thank
Good.
I just went blank, but yeah. So on side spin and top spin, what you'll see is that okay. So what do they want me to get into? Like, do I
Right.
just explain it?
No,
Or
why did Joru get more purchase than Shoaib Bashir today?
that is interesting. I actually didn't see Joe Root
All
ball
right, so I'll
as
talk about
much.
this.
Yeah.
So there are two things, right? So what Bashir does basically is what Praatibh was explaining. One is top spin, but there's also different kinds of off spin that you can potentially bowl, and different kind of seam positions. One is Bashir. So when you to a left hand, I assume could be any batter actually. If you're the batter and if you see the seam position, this is how Bashir releases the ball, that is seam towards the batter. Whereas when you see Joe Root release the ball, it's mostly like this. So you hardly see the seam, and that is what side spin is. So the ball is coming towards you while only one side of the ball is facing you. And the reason Joe Root got a lot more spin today than Shoaib Bashir, that's because certain kind of surfaces want the bowlers to bowl side spin rather than seam that's facing the
Top
batter.
spin.
It's top spin or the seam that's facing the batter. And so some surfaces allow more spin to that. So and Shoaib Bashir cannot do that because of his wrist position. I'm not saying he cannot do that. He hasn't ever done that. I've never seen him do that. But that's because of his wrist position. So when you see Shoaib Bashir release the ball, he releases very from the front of his arm, and that is where you see Shoaib Bashir's seam position, and that's where you see as a batter you would see the seam position. Whereas Joe Root, he uses wrist in such a way that when he's releasing the ball, you can only see one side of the ball. And some surfaces, the ball just spins more, and that surface happens to be the surface that the Lord Stadium.
And just to add on to Ashwin's point also with the releases and the manner in which the seam is released, because of the fact that Shoaib Bashir is more likely to hit more of the seam on the surface, is why the ball might not spin as much. Whereas Root is always hitting the seam to the surface at an angle which allows a cut.
Right. Abhimanyu one. Oh, they're talking about it. Number 3. You can start tomorrow's Club World Cup final. Oh, we do watch a match here and there. It's just too much cricket and too much other sports that we follow. No hate on football. Just not a sport that we follow. What are the chances of the test match ending tomorrow? Anyone up for England?
Whoa.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind 100. Why 140? I wouldn't mind 105 all out.
Oh, that would be the dream. But is that going to happen?
We'll
Time will
find
tell.
out. Right. Tilak Verma at number 3. I adore you. Alright, so you guys are talking about the new number 3, which is quite interesting because I think Karuna will still continue to get a couple of games. Alright, so we'll finish the live mostly now. But before we finish the live, let's talk about a couple of India matches that is going on. Right, so the Indian women's team have started their last T20 game against the England women's team on a Saturday. It's the 5th T20. We have already won the series for 3-1. It's kind of pointless for why we're playing. But anyway,
I mean,
we are
beat them 4-1.
we are 118 for 5 after 14 overs. Not the best of positions. Priti Mandana out 8. She's been batting brilliantly so far, though. Shefali Verma making a comeback into the series. She's got 75
Good
of
on her.
41. Yeah, a first real score. I think the problem is, except for her, no one really scored. Jamima Rodriguez won. Harmanpreet Kaur hasn't had the best of series. She missed out on the first match because of an injury, and ever since she hasn't really scored much of runs. She did score in the last game. She just didn't look great until got out. Harleen Deol's 4, Harleen Deol 4, Richa Ghosh and Deepti Sharma batting currently. It's a match you guys should watch out. I mean, India's won the series still.
Yeah. Watch it for the spinners. I think Indian spinners are on the money right now.
Was this stream shorter or am I tripping? Yeah, it might just be a little short.
Yeah, might be.
Alright, so the India under 19s are also playing a game in England. This is a multi-day game. Vaibhav Suryavanshi, so India scored 450 for 7, declared stumps on day 1. Declared, just stumps on day 1. My god. Vaibhav Suryavanshi 14 out. Ayush Matre 102 out. Vihan Malhotra 67. And Abhigyan,
Began?
I don't want to pronounce the second name, 90. Rahul Kumar 85. Damn, the tail here is performing quite well.
Is it actually a tail? We'll have to.
No, this will be a tail because it's not a practice game.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, 450 for 7, the India under 19s look to be in good form. You know what's interesting? So in the international circuit, in the
Yeah.
England team, there have been 10 occasions. This was talked about in the commentary box. There have been 10 occasions where Andrew Flintoff has bowled and Michael Vaughan has taken a catch. So it's Flintoff bowled, Vaughan caught 10 times in the international format and the Test format. The first time in the history of any form of cricket, there has been Vaughan bowled and Flintoff caught. So their sons are playing for the under 19 team, and Michael Vaughan bowled and got a wicket, and Flintoff was the one taking the catch. Very poetic, very just beautiful, something.
To look forward to, actually. We're also very likely going to be doing a Flintoff video on Tuesday.
Well, that's
So
true.
watch out for that.
Oh yeah, see that is. We also follow tennis, but we're not going to talk about tennis because we are a cricket channel.
Subscribe to us on Tennis by JB.
Soon, hopefully soon. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a lovely live. It was a short live because we just got through everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. If you haven't watched a Kuldeep Yadav video which we posted yesterday, do that. If you haven't subscribed to us, do that too. Thank